This time I'm casting back one of my games for you because I was playing the other night and can't actually record in the evening in case I wake up the kiddos. Anyone with little ones knows you definitely don't want to be waking them up. So it was a really interesting match and I wanted to share it with you. So I'm scouting now, trying to make sure I get all of the sheep, and I went for double scout opening as I've been doing recently. I think it works really well opening up for some pro scouts play if I decide to go for that, and on this map in particular I quite like it because it takes the thought out of scouting. Because the sheep spawn all the way around in a ring, I'm able to basically try and go that, and then even if my scouting is terrible I can still get some more. So he goes this way and he sees my scout, and so I just decide to go really heavy into his territory to try and get as much as possible because I know I've already caught all the stuff around here. My other scout is also slowly working his way around. I know there's scouts here, so I can go all the way as tight as I can around here and get the majority of these sheep. Whether that's the right thing to do, I'm sure you guys have a much better scouting path than me, but that's what I decided to go for. So I was looking at, as I was scouting around, I also wanted to scout out his resources, so I could see he had these front berries over here, and then I wanted to find his stone and his gold. So his stone was super back, just behind the TC that's going to shoot me now. There we go. Always managed to run it under the TC somehow, but yeah, so stone is here, and then gold, we're just, you can see almost just the edge of it here. So he's got a really nice spawn, actually super defensive, so I wanted to be really careful about this because obviously Abbasid's very flexible. They can go for a fast castle, they can do military wing. Now with the buffs to the eco wing, they can also go for like a super quick 3TC that's very hard to go against, so I wanted to be extra careful. You can also see my other scouts circled background here to make sure that I got the ones at the back in this corner. I'm really struggling with the two scouts to try and manage them and make sure I'm constantly producing villagers. You can already see I'm just about keeping up at the moment, but yeah, that was a real struggle for me. So something I'm working on, and I definitely think this is improving my APM overall, so it's definitely got some benefits. If we take a look at my spawn, I've got front stone, which is absolutely fine. I'm fine with. The wood lines have gone really well for me this time because I've got double here, so one little short wall across there, and then basically blocking in this side with the other walls basically means the right hand side of my base is completely closed. It does mean though that the left hand side is completely open, there's nothing on this side at all, and obviously that is basically where he's going to come from if he comes straight across here. So good in one way, bad in the other. If these wood lines were on this side, I'd have been in a super sweet spot. So I decided to go for the winery because it's generally, I would say, the most flexible landmark, and against Abbasid I don't like Hippodrome. It really doesn't go very well. As soon as they start making camels, any cavalry you make just doesn't really work. But basically I am scouting out over here now, so I can see that they're going for military wing, so I knew I needed to get some production down sharpish to defend against those units. I also need to be careful of the stone because they might be going for 2TC. This is my thought process. I thought you might find this one interesting if I explain kind of what I was thinking along the way, because as I'm playing it's very difficult to explain all of this thinking or lack of thinking depending on which game you're watching, because I'm sure a lot of the games you watch that I play you probably don't assume there's any thinking going on, but I assure you it might be the wrong thoughts, but I am trying my best to think. But one thing I found in this game actually that I really wanted to share was, if you control your scout like this and you shift Q, when you get to the end, if you continue holding shift and then you hit V, it actually does shift Q the stand ground command. So I was able to park my scout here, and then, so if you see he just stops in a second, he should do. Basically my plan was to basically just have him standing so I could see when the guys pop out and also do that, so I must do it a little bit later. One thing that I learned from this game was I normally put my two scouts in like number 1 and number 2, my control groups. So there we go, I've aged up and he just clicks up, so we're going to see his units in a second. So I've been doing that with my scouts, Scout 1 and Scout 2, and then what I forgot in this game, which we'll see a little bit later, is that I forgot to take the scouts out of those groups, so when I was microing units I wasn't able to actually micro them effectively, so that was really a bit of a pain. But basically I'm bringing both of my scouts over now to see what they're doing with their resources. So there's no stone being gathered now, and you can see he's parked there, so this is where I decide to check the gold in case there's a fast castle going on. So if I see 5 or 6 here, I'm assuming fast castle. Obviously we've got god vision, so we can see he's going for eco text, but I didn't know that. So 3 on gold, the same as my 3. That was pretty, I was fine with that. But I did see these guys, these cheeky military boys. Obviously Abbasid gets the siege engineering tech for free, so they're going immediately for a ram to try and take down my winery and basically just cause me loads of trouble. So they're also going for boot camp, and so I did feel like they were a bit tankier, but I'd already gone for a defensive tower. Now, I don't have the stone to upgrade it because I did connect my cisterns, but I was going for an early archery range. The logic of this was that I can basically beat all of these units with archers if I have enough of them, but if I go for anything else, mercenaries would be too slow, and the villagers here I didn't really want to use offensively, but I thought the tower I could fill up with some units. So yeah, so you can see here with my scouts I'm trying to guard as much as possible, but this is where I accidentally pull him forward by mistake, and so he runs under the TC. So I'm sorry my friend, but you're not going to make it. The ram now, and they did a really good job here actually. So there's 2 spears inside here, and I knew that was the case. I'd chucked 4 of my villagers into the tower itself so that I could use it to shoot, and you can see here that I actually was using this as my military because my archers were still waiting to come out. So I was idle on food for quite a while, and I could see more archers coming across, so I was really nervous about this being a continued attack. I really wanted to keep this tower alive because as soon as that was down I was going to find it very difficult to fight against, but my archers starting to come out and the defender's advantage working in my favour, and I'm starting to drop the other production because once I can get my mercenaries, those javelin throwers will be able to defend me. So I was hoping these couple of archers would be able to do enough damage. Villagers trying to pull because I want to take out that ram because that's going to be able to do a lot of damage. It's a lot of idle time here, but I thought if he jumps out like this, then I do have archers and a tower, so I could do a huge amount of damage to those. So the villagers not quite rallied back to where they should be, but as of yet, no villagers down. I think this is probably one of the better defenses that I've done. The house built there is just dumb. I don't know why I did that. So yeah, while I'm patting myself on the back, that's super dumb. But I was pretty happy that I managed to use my scouts to actually scout their resources. So he's probably a bit too close, but I still think the idea stands, and I think this is one of the games where I actually did quite well to scout my opponent and then use the information I got from it to actually make decisions, which is actually obviously what you're supposed to do. So I saw more units coming across. Now I didn't notice this because I was focused on other stuff, so these 2 guys zip away, and so now they're gone, and I didn't notice it because I was focusing on the rams and getting my units out. So my food went a bit haywire for a little while, because obviously idling the berries, but I wanted to make sure I got enough for javelins. So now I move them away, and this tower is now being rammed by 2, so these guys are going to have to make a swift exit. So I'm in real danger at this point. 1 villager has gone down, but they are focusing on my archers, which the numbers are not looking very good at this stage. House goes down, so I think, no, I managed to get another house up, so I'm not quite housed, but they are going for that. So all of my units down, big pull from the villagers, and I pulled the wood villagers off because these archers are around here getting them. So I'd also built stables because I thought the horsemen would be able to take out quite a few of these archers for me. Obviously they're doing quite a lot of damage, but here come the saviours, the javelins. Now these guys are incredible, and in this matchup actually I finally feel like I've seen the power of them. Against the Malians they're amazing, but yeah, in this matchup in particular I really noticed how powerful they can be, especially with the camels in the Castle Age. So we've got the horse here who's now targeting these guys. I want to get rid of all of these units so that I can start doing something myself. So I do a big villager pull, probably a bit too much, probably don't need to do that. But, you know, I wanted him to lose all of these resources because that's a big investment. So we can see Final Archer is going to go down in a second if I can target the right unit. And then I move closer. I've been seeing a lot of pros do this, which actually is really clever. I say myself, basically before attacking, move as close as you can and then attack, because then you can get a second attack as they flee. So that's, especially against a scout, works really well. So my military now is looking fairly decent. Obviously, it'd be nice to have kept that tower, but I'm trying to get my olive oil going back up and getting these. So no villagers on gold yet. I do have a little bit, but not... I decided to use it for my military techs because I felt a bit under pressure. So I sent my horsemen over, horsemen over because I wanted to do a little pokey poke, and unfortunately the camels are here, and so my scout is very sick. You can see that little purple glow around him, and the camels are giving chase. Now, luckily, I found these villagers on the deer, and with one horseman, I wasn't expecting to do a huge amount. I didn't expect them to actually attack back, if I'm perfectly honest, but I was just hoping to idle the economy, maybe force him to move away, and because I already had scouted, while we watched this horseman, his final charge, I'd already scouted they were on berries, so that's where I was originally going, and then I found these along the way. So you can see I've got a couple more horsemen in queue, and this is, again, that horseman, I wanted him to just basically go for the gold, and they pulled away, so he got hit a little heavily there. Javelins, I was going to go for the deer, but then I changed my mind because I got a little bit nervous, so I pulled these guys back to defend. The scout got a surround on. They really got me there. I wasn't paying attention to him, and he was way too close to those villagers, so he definitely should have been over here in the corner where they couldn't see me, because I really wanted to pay attention to if he had any stone going in. So basically, at the moment, you can see I've still got horsemen in queue. I'm working my way slowly towards castle now. I don't want to do a big push, but I also want to have some units to defend while also getting my other cistern up, because I've been building some groves and stuff. That has been pretty good. Looking at the positioning now, obviously these groves aren't right against the TC, so not the best positioning, but, you know, you beggars can't be choosers in this case. So I rallied this round. He's attacking that. I basically shift queued him around and then A moved back, and so obviously he goes for the furthest building. So yeah, and at the moment I have no vision on the House of Wisdom, so I don't know that this culture wing is in place, but I'm just trying to do as much damage. And I do have the Trapezites, I think is the right one, the upgrade that gives me the extra attack damage and the gold from villagers. So that was just because I knew I was going to be doing a bit of raiding, so I thought a little bit of extra gold is never too bad. But as you can see, I'm getting quite a bit of food now. My food eco is picking up nicely, and I'm slowly getting a bit of gold. So if my macro were a little bit better, then I probably wouldn't have had to have pulled these 5 onto gold, but around Castle Age I always want 10 anyway, so that's pretty decent. So I've got my scout, and I've got a load of horsemen over here with another scout, so I'm just trying to use these guys to get a bit of a poke, but to keep them alive, because that's something that I don't always do very well, and I think I've noticed in a lot of games that I play and that I watch, if you've got these kind of cavalry and you keep letting them die slowly, then you just can't pack a punch with them. So that's something I was trying to do, but I did stop production at this stage because I was trying to get to Castle Age, and obviously I hadn't actually scouted his age up, so that was just my plan because I saw no more units, so I just assumed that he was going to be doing that. And as I scouted, I saw him building this wall, so I wanted to try and see if I could get in and get this cheeky boy here that was building it up, and then I found his wood line, so I thought this would be perfect to go for. So he did run away, and then the berry villagers basically ran out right in front of me, so I was hoping to get at least one of those guys before running away, but he came to get me, and I saw all of these units, and I thought it's not really worth it. I noticed the tick up there, and that's when I actually was about to start my age up, because I just got the 600. So I think this is where I'm trying to figure out where to put the golden horn. There we go. So you can see that's gone down, and I'm putting basically all my wood villagers, because I'm already floating 200, and then a load of extra food ones as well, because I want to get that up pretty sharpish, because in this matchup I definitely want to be making sure that I'm getting units, getting relics, and all of that stuff. So I think at this point I probably will have rallied it, or I will rally it in a minute, because I want to do that. So I didn't actually notice it was a bit broken, but it's really cool that there's a model inside there. I like that. So trying to keep my horses active. There's no reason to have both scouts together. I thought at this stage that, oh dear, that's a bad one. The camels really debuffing these guys. They just got taken out like no one's business. Wow, that's a huge loss for me. Big damage, and so now I know that they're coming, but I do have a defensive force, and he's running a couple of spears into my base, which against mass javelins and archers isn't exactly the best call. So looking at this, I knew he was Castle Age, so I was expecting the Ghulams, and I was really glad I had an archery range, because I think as soon as I started, I just started queuing up crossbows. There you go, because I knew that's what would come. I wanted to make sure I got rid of these the spears and the camels, because they were going to cause trouble, and composite bows was something I was worried about, so I don't know if he actually has it with that attack speed, but I wanted to make sure he couldn't get a mass of those, because Abbasid archers with composite bows are really scary. And with that camel going down, my horsemen aren't debuffed and they can tank the Gulam damage a little bit. These guys definitely should be focusing on the archers. I was trying to micro them as best I could, but yeah, they are still doing quite a bit of damage, but the Gulams, you can see, are coming in. But now I've got crossbows, I'm all right in this case. So there we go. That's coming through, and then the archers are taken down. So the military's still in my favour. You can see I'm a couple of villagers behind at this stage, so not the perfect production, but we should be getting some relics in a second, so hopefully I'm going to remember to do that before long. But this is where I'd just taken that fight and I thought it was probably time to push out and try and do a little bit of damage while continuing to make it home. So you can see I've got some production here. I'd added in another barracks, and I was slowly trying to remember to add in lots of production while doing this, and at the moment I think I'm doing pretty well spending my resources. One monk finally in queue, so that was my idea, to try and get the relics because they're so powerful, and I caught him walling up again. So this is quite a greedy wall, I would say. If I were him, I'd probably have just gone to this gold, or straight here, because I guess you don't need to do that, but there we go. He tries to surround me, and he focuses all on the Varangian Guard, and I think, there we go. I don't notice for too long there, but I'm focusing on the camels, keep my horse alive, and then the archers. So the javelins do get their bonus damage against ranged, but they do have a really high base damage, so actually it's pretty decent for them anyway. This not the best fight for me. I am bringing my reinforcements over. You can see them coming in behind, but there we go. So now they are surviving relatively well, but I should have pulled back probably before this and tried to kite a little bit. So yeah, these guys coming in, and here come the reinforcements. So we heard a little ping. That's a relic being picked up for me, which is pretty nice. And this was my little sacrificial crossbow. I decided to send him there so they slow down a bit, and then I could come back. Now you can see this little attempt. You can see I pulled into the stealth forest because I thought he couldn't see me, and then I went for the Wallalol just to distract him so I could do some more damage to his units, which I think actually worked pretty well. Obviously I lost the monk, but any chance there's to do a Wallalol, I think that's really fun. So let's bring this in and we can see exactly what's going on. So I've got vision on all these guys, and the Varangian Guard are there doing their job, tanking up Gulams quite nicely. I think the Gulams actually trade way better into the Varangian Guard because of their extra attack speed, but I've got the advantage of production speed, so I can keep printing my units, and I basically was going for a mixed comp of crossbows, Varangian Guard and horsemen, along with the javelins and camels to support. So you can see here he's rallying individual units into me, which I'm more than happy to accept, because that just means that he's doing what I usually do and not being able to get his mass up, which we like. So there's another monk in queue. I'm trying to pick up any relics at this stage. I've already got this one almost home, and we can see actually they're spawned really well for him. So there's one just outside his base, one on his side of the pit, and then there's these two on the right hand side. So I was really quite nervous of him going out and grabbing all of those. I started walling up as well, just so that he didn't start doing like lancer raids or something like that. So you can see I basically tried to secure this whole side. It also gives me a little deer pack at the back, and some berries. There's a boar in here as well, so I thought for food and stuff I was pretty good, but I was trying to add in lots of groves because I wanted as many javelins as possible. That first relic is coming home now, and basically what I think I accidentally did was rallied my new monk to the relic and sent another one there as well, so this one's just going to be standing at home for some reason. But there's also another monk in queue, so yeah, at this stage I've got loads, so I'm sending them out here, there and everywhere. And I've also got some cavalry doing the strangest patrol maneuver on this relic to try and keep them off, and I'm moving the rest of my army over here to this relic. I basically thought if I can secure this one by defending that point, and then I've got some horses there, I can get these two and I can shift over to the other ones that are a little bit further away, because I wanted to make sure I got as many of those as possible. I was also gathering stone to try and get my system level up. I've already got 400, so this is a little bit slow for me. I definitely should have added in a system by now, but I think pretty shortly I add in 1 or 2 somewhere else, but that was the idea. There we go, literally as I speak. So and this is also something I've really enjoyed doing recently, is build the cistern, build the production around it, and then build the aqueduct, because then it moves around the building so you block less of it. So that works pretty well. No gate here, that's dumb, but you know, we'll we'll accept that. And so there we go, I picked up that relic, and just as I move through here, I see the blueprint of this being built up, and it's just as my units come into range. So this is a huge pickup for me, and I don't think he's very happy that I caught him there. So I was focusing on the villagers that you can see there, my horsemen and that charging in, trying to do as much damage, and as the crumbled keep goes down, all of my units are then coming in. So if we take a little look at what I've got, it's crossbows, javs and Varangian Guard, and he's now just got crossbows, so those guys are not going to do well against my composition. His reinforcements are doing some damage, but they're all split up, and then here I come to try and do as much damage as I possibly can. So there we go. So I can see his villagers there, they're only just on the edge. I probably could have sniped a couple of those, but as I come around the front, he's trying to build a defensive keep now, and I do have vision, so I can still target those villagers. So I was basically just trying to do as much damage to his villagers as I can before he gets that keep up, because I didn't think I could really deny it. But this is huge, 15 kills, and I think I maybe get 1 or 2 more before the keep actually goes up, moving just out of range. But even now I'm still attacking it, and I didn't realise that wall was up to a house. I definitely could have just gone round, but so I'm losing quite a lot of units here, but I managed to get quite a lot of villager kills, and then keep goes up and I run away immediately. So you know, I've not got a huge amount left, but I am producing like crazy. So in my base I've got quite a lot of these guys pumping out. 4 relics, one of them on its way back, and then the final one is literally just about to be picked up as we speak. So there we go, nicely done. So this is where I sent out, I don't know what these units were doing, I think rallied up by mistake, but I've seen that he's in the centre, so I'm moving all my military around to try and secure this, and also grabbing the sacred sites, because I think that's always a good idea. So if we take a little look, I'm regrouping now. I don't want my military split, but I did try and get a couple of units in to do some raiding. So I've got some horsemen that I've managed to get through this broken wall that he hasn't repaired, and I wanted to try and find some damage. So the horsemen would have been much better attacking these villagers, but anything that idles his economy is good for me at this stage. Also, these guys on patrol, I needed to move them because they're not guarding anything now, but I got the relic, so that's 5. That's pretty good for me. We're almost at level 5 cistern. I've just dropped another one here, and I already had one over here, so it's kind of 6 levels if you like, and that was just going to allow me to buff up all of my eco and all of the gold. So I'm slowly adding in groves, you can see here, with 3 relics in the bag. So my oil income is really massive. If we switch over to income per minute, I think I'm doing really well. My gold actually goes a bit crazy at this stage because I'm super heavy with villagers, and I've got 2 relics that are about to pop into them as well. Horsemen on the back get caught out by these archers, but for me, I'm quite happy. If his army is distracted by a couple of these units and letting me mass up some more, that's fine. If he wants to send part of them here and part to my base, that's also fine for me. So popping out of the stealth forest there and catching him unawares, so his ghulam's running across this way. Now this isn't really ideal for me, definitely don't want to be doing this. I want all of my military attacking this blob over here, but as they come towards me, there we go. So I see the siege, I can hear it. I heard a mangonel somewhere, and yeah, I built a siege workshop ages ago, but I never had the macro quite set up where I could actually get them. My plan was literally just to print a couple of springboards to defend against the mangonels, because Abbasid usually go for them. In the end, I just had cavalry, so that was kind of my backup while I didn't have springboards, was try and get on top of the mangonel. So I heard it, and I don't think he realises I have vision because I built towers at the edge of my base, and so I just sent all of my cavalry round. Big shot for him. I tried to separate my units, but that mangonel's down, and so I can just focus on the fight now. So zooming in, we can have a little look, and his units, my javelins, I'm focusing on his archers because they can get bonus damage, and then the crossbows I'm focusing on the ghulams to try and take those guys out. So these ghulams are doing a huge amount of damage, but There we go, Cataphract Trample. What can you say? They going in and tanking up all of that damage so my range units can do it. Both Sacred Sites just collected as we're taking this big fight, and the crossbows and all those units moving in. I've got a monk in the midst of it, and they for some reason move right to the A move point, so they're now getting targeted, but they're healing everyone up, keeping my army alive, which is very, very nice, which I need to start doing a little bit more if I have them, but I moved them away to safety because I didn't want to lose them all. And there we go, so that's his military taken out, another one streaming in, and now he's streaming them in individually. He must have rallied them to my base, and so this for me is nice little pickups where I can just charge across and hopefully pick up some more along the way. So I've also moved those horsemen that were patrolling. They're attacking the base, and I'm just moving up now. Now, I don't know why I'm going in this direction. There we go. I didn't want to go near the keep. I probably should have gone through this open hole, but that's where he calls it. So yeah, that was a really fun one. I hope you enjoyed me casting it back. Just the insane defense at the beginning, I felt like I did really well, and there's lots of things I remembered. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any comments, let me know, and I'll see you in the next one for more ladder action.